Hi, it's Glenn McQueenie, and welcome to my 25-minute Success Series podcast. So this is my weekly podcast where we talk about helping people find their niche market, because I really think that the future of real estate is all about just getting into your niche market. I mean, let's be honest. I know just in Toronto we have over 55,000 realtors chasing about $100,000 sales. So I don't think we need any more realtors, but we do need a lot more great realtors who can add more value to their customers. And I found the way that they can do that is by focusing on one single target market and going really deep and really discovering the intricacies of their niche market instead of being the, I'm everything to everyone realtor. So today we have a special guest, Eric Herrera. How you doing, Eric?
Hey, Glenn, I'm doing great.
Good, and welcome to my podcast. So Eric is a new agent. He is just getting his license right now, and kind of, I guess, in process on picking the brokerage he's going to work for. So he's like the newest of the new right now. So Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I got interested in real estate about 2 years ago. I was working concierge at a condo. And before that, I had a lot of customer service experience in the food and drink industry, retail, and really just around 8 years of customer service experience. So when I was working at the condo, I would see agents coming in and out every day, and I would see them with their clients, and I said, and I would hear them interacting and whatnot. So I said to myself, that's something I could see myself doing. And like you mentioned, there are a lot of agents in the city of Toronto, right? That's something you hear every day, that it's oversaturated and whatnot. But from what I've seen, there aren't enough quality agents out there. And, I know how my work ethic is, and I know how I like to over exceed other people's expectations. So I said, this is something I could get into and I could be successful and not just be another statistic. And, so I started right away. I enrolled, and here I am today.
I think that's such a great story that even being a concierge, you could notice as the agents were coming in, like some of them were really amazing and some of them were just brutal.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Interesting. So, one of the ways that we kind of talk about niche markets is it's really about who you are and just bringing you and all your kind of natural strengths and unique abilities just to a marketplace of people who are similar to you. It's almost like we're matching up your values and your mindsets up to the market. So if I had to kind of ask you to paint a picture of what would like a dream come true client or a perfect client look like how old are they? What's their problem that you want to solve for them? Can you just paint that picture for me, Eric?
Sure. Yeah, I've been back and forth with this, but because I'm trying to be conservative. Something I hear a lot when I speak to people is they say, you should start with people your own age and maybe downtown at a brokerage downtown, and with the condo market, and young professionals, people closer to my age. But I do have a passion for luxury real estate. I love luxury homes, obviously luxury condos as well. So that's something I am leaning towards. I am looking for a brokerage that is prominent and established in the luxury market right now. So that's what I'm leaning towards right now, just the luxury market.
So what's important about the luxury market to you?
I'm just passionate about it. I don't know. I like it. I just see myself always looking it up and researching it, and it's not that it's I don't know. I just see myself researching it more, I suppose. And I think it's just funner for me.
Mm-hmm. So do you have a lot of connections into that market right now? And the reason I ask is what I know about luxury, and my career, I've sold a lot of luxury properties, is it's a very connected referral-based market. It's almost like any high-end professional service.
Yeah.
They're not advertising. It's all word of mouth. So what's your connection to that industry?
No connection. Absolutely no connection. I just figured my thought process around it was just joining a team that is established and getting exposure there.
And do you want to be on a team for your career, or do you want to build
No.
your own team?
Yeah, just to start, just to get some infield experience, shadowing agents, or just being exposed, right? Holding open houses for people and just really getting infield experience,
Right.
until I feel comfortable enough, or I feel like I can hold my own out there, and just go out on my own.
So I think another way to look at teams is it's not binary, right? Like it's not like you're on a team or you're
Hmm.
not on a team. There's actually a lot of different models for being on teams, and I've
Hmm.
coached probably a lot of the top Toronto real estate teams in my career. And so let me just give you the kind of lay of the lay of the land right now.
Hmm.
So we have a lot of agents who want to start and want to get the benefit of being on a team because they usually will generate the leads, and then they'll want to go and get their experience and then go open, have their own brokerage or just build their own team or build their own brand.
Hmm.
And then on the other side, you have teams that are trying to build a team, and you'll notice that what they used to do is they used to take a lot of people on their team, especially if they had a lot of leads, and they would just kind of dish those leads out. But what they started
Hmm.
to notice was that people would come on their team, steal all their systems, leave their team, and go and do it themselves. So a
Absolutely.
lot of the teams you're seeing now are kind of shying away from people who want to start with them and then move on. So there's almost
Hmm.
like they're looking for people who want to be on a team for a long time, because
Hmm.
most agents, I would argue probably 70 to 80, maybe even 90% of the agents right now do not have a great ability to generate their own leads.
Hmm.
And the person who generates the leads they have the gold. We call them the rainmaker.
Hmm.
And a lot of these teams kind of are also, it's a weird time right now in this market because a lot of them are going, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not bringing people on, taking my systems,
Yeah.
and then they're going. So you're seeing this kind of modification happening right now. And it's kind of like I call it the dating team system, which is you're building your own brand, but you're
Hmm.
also talking to some teams right now and saying, hey, if you have an overflow of leads or if you need somebody to step in and take your stuff, then I will do it. The big
Hmm.
challenge is being new is like you don't know anything, right? So the
Yeah.
problem is they get a great lead, they're not giving it to you. And this is a bit
Hmm.
of the joke of the industry. It's like, oh, I'm going to the team for great leads. It's like, listen, if I'm running a team and you're brand new, like I'm not
Hmm.
giving you to my clients right now,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So the other approach to doing this, so we have the one team model, which is yes, go find a team at a luxury brokerage. Although I do believe if you actually look at the market share stats of who sells luxury, there
Hmm.
isn't any real luxury brokerage in Toronto. A lot of them
Sure.
are like most of the luxury market is being served by most of the brokers.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think anybody's really got that covered. But what I would tell you is the best approach to probably, if I was you right now, how old are you, Eric?
24.
24. So I started when I was 23. So you're a year older than me in the business. Um, but if I was talking to my 24-year-old self right now, I
Hmm.
would probably focus all of your efforts on luxury rentals, not
Mm.
on luxury condos and sales.
Hmm.
Because the luxury condos and sales, it's a very finicky market, right? It's a
Hmm.
professional market, which is great. These people have usually made a lot of money. And the reason they've made a lot of money is they're really good at making decisions
Hmm.
and building a professional team around them. And a lot of times, if it's like you're just newly licensed and going to get a a luxury listing, a lot of times it'll just be a little tricky because a lot of them just expect a very, very high standard because they're
Hmm.
used to paying people, their lawyers, $1,000 an hour and their accountants a lot of money to provide the professional services to them.
Hmm.
But on the other end it is a real task for anybody who is moving to Toronto right now or moving to any big city to
Hmm.
find short-term accommodation or find rental accommodation before they go and buy.
Hmm.
And the beautiful thing is Toronto, which is one of the few markets where a lot of the rentals actually go on MLS. Most of them aren't.
Hmm.
It creates a really great opportunity for you to position yourself as the luxury rental expert.
Hmm.
And through being the luxury rental expert, you get to see every single building in Toronto. You get to know all the product because, really, this is a combination of you bringing your skills
Hmm.
to knowing the products, because otherwise what's the value? If a client's saying to you, hey Eric, what do you think about this building, and you're like, yeah, I have no idea.
Hmm.
Just doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't see the value. But when you're in the rental world, it's a beautiful way. And a lot of luxury rentals are probably $5,000 to $10,000 a month, right? It could
yeah,
be more, but a lot of that sweet spot of the market seems to be around 5 or 10,000. So what do you think about that?
yeah. It's a great idea. I didn't even think about that. And on
Yeah.
top of that too, I'm building a database with that clientele, right? So.
Well, that's it. And you're learning kind of on the job. And my experience is that everyone who you help find a rental for loves you.
Hmm.
Like, because they're not paying you, you're getting paid by the listing broker on this. And so it's almost like perceived as a free service to them, and you're going to bat for them and going to tell them and showing them all the rentals. Plus, you also have access to what all the rentals recently rented for if they were on
Hmm.
MLS. So you can really give that professional advice to them and say, hey, listen, these people are asking 6,000, but the last 2 units are rented for 5,200. So
Hmm.
let's go and pay that. And that's when you start adding value to your customers, right?
Hmm.
And here's
Absolutely.
the other thing I've learned is that when people are actually moving to Toronto in a professional capacity, a lot of them, if they're not familiar with Toronto, will not buy first. They will always rent for a year or two just to kind of, figure out the lay of the land. And, we've got 146 neighborhoods in Toronto, and
Hmm.
they'll probably focus on the top three. So a lot of times you'll be able to get them in there, put them in for a year, and then, within about 6 or 8 months, they'll be like, okay, hey, Eric, we're ready to start buying.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great strategy for sure.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, like what we were speaking about before was that like I don't have the connections. I don't have I guess the database or the list of people that I've serviced or that know me, and they're in that market. So that's just a phenomenal way to build that.
Yeah. And it's kind of like your entry point of service into that
Hmm.
community.
Yeah,
And the beautiful thing is, guess what? Guess who their friends are,
yeah, other people like them, right?
right? And then, so your first game would be to what kind of platform can you create that would basically draw the leads to you before it gets to other agents. So if you imagine there's like a lake of leads, a
Hmm.
lake of people thinking about renting in Toronto right now, their problem is they've got to find something. They're being transferred here, they're moving here.
Hmm.
And there might be a bunch of people who've got, MLS, rentals for sale. So those people in the lake are actually going direct to those people who've got the listings, right? Hey, can I
Hmm.
whatever. So what we have to do is we have to get upstream. We have to go up the river before the person gets into the lake and try to catch them up there.
I see.
The way you actually catch them up there is you start giving them just really good offers, right? Like you would be like, you could offer a free list of the top 10 rentals in Toronto between $5,000 and $7,000.
Mm.
Like who would want that list,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? And then you can segment it too. You could almost have 3 or 4 different Facebook pages, or even using Instagram, and be like top 10 luxury rentals between 5 and 7,000. Yorkville luxury rentals. You could have Bay Street luxury rentals, and you could
Mm.
have Wellington Street luxury rentals. You can segment your market
Hmm.
because, let's face it, a luxury rental is either going to be a condo downtown,
Hmm.
or it's going to be in some of the, areas that are within a 15-minute drive to downtown Toronto,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So, and there's people listening to this call who have no idea what Toronto is, but it's almost like if you can go into any city, like the professionals are all going to be commuting 15 to 20 minutes if they
yeah.
can down to their great jobs, which are all in Toronto, at least in the downtown core,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And then you can segment it even further because you could do luxury condos, you could do luxury townhouses, you could
Hmm.
do luxury, townhouses at Avenue Road in St. Clair. You could do luxury homes in great neighborhoods in like Forest Hill or Rosedale or Leaside or, Lawrence Park.
Hmm.
So there's a way, but the real future of um, of of real estate is no one goes, I just need a rental in Toronto. People
Mm-hmm.
go, I want to get a condo. I want to get a luxury condo in Yorkville. They
Mm-hmm.
don't go just Toronto. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So so now what we have to do is start, okay, now, so how do we strategize?
Mm-hmm.
Because, the whole part of this, marketing to get clients is, first of all, you have to select a single target market, right? Which is it's going to be luxury rentals. And then somehow we got to figure out a way for them to put their hand up when they're ready and say, hey, I want what you're offering.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we do the Instagram or the Facebook business pages. Now, are you familiar with Facebook business pages?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. And then there's a second part of this, which would be really, really interesting. And this is where we start to what we call create your own MLS system. And what you start doing is you start marketing to people who actually have luxury rentals and are trying to find a tenant.
Mm-hmm.
So if you imagine it's a year from now and you've got 20 or 30 people who've got luxury rentals that you're filling their places for, but you've also got a stream of maybe 30 or 40 people looking, then we can now start cross-marketing them back and almost avoiding the MLS right away, which means you get all of the rent, not just half of it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right? So
Mm-hmm.
we would we would mail into buildings where we know there's a lot of luxury rentals, or we would Facebook target ad or whatever we are going to do to say, we currently have 10 families moving to Toronto who are looking for a luxury rental between 5 and 10,000. If you don't want the muss and fuss of putting your property on the MLS,
Mm-hmm.
give me a call. All inquiries will be kept confidential. And this way you start to triangulate. So it's you, the renter, and the landlord, and you're the one who positions yourself in the middle.
I see. So that could be one of those mail flyers.
Yeah, you can. The only problem with mail flyers is,
Mm-hmm.
if you've worked at a concierge in a hotel, in a condo building before, you'll notice that the real estate flyers
Mm-hmm.
all come on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
And so then the consumer goes to their mailbox and finds 15 real estate flyers and turns around and throws them all in the blue box.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it's that effective right now,
Mm-hmm.
doing print, and it's also very expensive. And I would argue fairly unpredictable with our postal system right now on whether it's going to go out or not.
Mm-hmm.
Where you could also do Facebook targeted ads where you are targeting by postal code,
Gotcha.
by building, only that ad to show in front of those people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great approach. The other way you can do it is go through Kijiji or Craigslist. And it's not that anyone really goes to Kijiji or Craigslist to look anything up. It's just when they Google what they're looking for, because Kijiji has such great content and it's relevant and it's new, Google picks it up and usually puts it on the first page.
Gotcha.
So now you can start doing it. And then you can also target Montreal. Like you could go, there's a lot of people moving from Montreal to Toronto. There's people moving, you could do research, or most of the professionals moving to and coming
Mm-hmm.
to Toronto. And I got to tell you that right now from across Canada, this is the place to be to launch your professional career in most cases. Like to
From
move up to the highest point, right?
yeah.
Is get out of your regional, being head of your region, into head of the national, right? And we're also a big international uh, place. So
Absolutely.
then, yeah. So then, and then here's probably the third place that I would probably tell you to target. I will guarantee that all of the big companies in Toronto are working very hard every day to find great talent to fill their ranks.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, there's just a big war for talent out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Only maybe 10 or 15% of the population is truly the top talent. It might even be 5%.
Yeah.
And every time they're trying to recruit somebody, there's two sales that have to occur. One, they have to sell them on the job. And number two is they have to sell them on the city. And you could position yourself by talking to some of the top companies in Toronto, saying, listen, my job is to sell the city. So anybody who you're interviewing, if you want me, and I'll do it free of charge, take them out for an hour or two, and I'll show them some condos, and I'll sell them the city. That's what my job is, and that's what my service is going to be to you. And in return, I would just want any of your corporate relocations to contact me, and then I'll
Mhm.
help them find their places.
Wow, yeah, that's fantastic. Because
So isn't that fun?
again, it's like you're providing a value to these companies, and they're reciprocating with clients, right?
Yeah,
With
it's
the
the
value
whole.
first. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's always value first. And this is
Mhm.
the missing link that most agents miss.
Mhm.
They think that the other people have to commit to them first, or sign a buyer agency agreement first, or do that they have to
Mhm.
do something before the agent ever does anything. And I'm like, no, you got it backwards. It's your job to service those clients and come from contribution without expectation, and just serve, 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 give, give, give.
Mhm.
And what I've learned in my 29 years of real estate is that's exactly the right mindset to have if you want
Mhm.
to build a really big business.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all value creation.
absolutely, and just that route too of finding these entities that have um, uh, clients that need service and going straight to them, um, when probably not a lot of people do that, right?
Absolutely. Nobody does that to them. Like,
Yeah.
what if you were to reach out and say, hey, listen, this is the service that I'm willing to provide for you? And I'm telling you, I used to do this earlier in my career, and I also did it when I worked for the Blue Jays for 4 or 5 years, where I had almost the whole team. I had to sell the players on the city also. Like, they have a
Hmm.
lot of options to come to.
I
So my
see.
job was sell the city. There is to sell the team. And so I'm saying this from experience that, it's not just the hiring person who's making this decision. It's their family
Hmm.
who's coming with them. And if you don't sell the family, you're not getting that recruit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you were to do like those three different options right now, like that would be, I would say, probably your marketing platform would be
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm going to market for renters, but I'm going to go upstream because I don't have any luxury listings right now. So I'm going to start doing offers like the top 10 best luxury rentals. And you don't have to post what the top 10 are. You just have to say, would you like a list? And then if someone says, yeah, I want the list, then you say, well, I want to just make sure I'm going to send you the right list, right? So what's the perfect rent? Like, where's the perfect location, perfect price range, perfect time frame, and perfect price? And if you know those four pieces of information, you can easily jump on MLS and pick your top 10 list,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
And then what you could do is you could also, if you get really good at this, is you could start helping people buy luxury condos, and that you already have the renters, and that you'll property manage them for it. So now you
Hmm.
start building four platforms, right? You get the renters, you get the landlords to match the renters with, you
Hmm.
get the relocation, and more importantly, you get the investors now who are like, yeah, I'll buy it, but I want to make sure I'm going to get the right people in it. And it doesn't just have to be a house or a condo, it could be a
Hmm.
fourplex, because
Hmm.
you'll make way more money buying. If you buy a $2 million fourplex right now, you'll probably get $16,000 a month in rent from those four units.
Hmm.
If you buy a $2 million condo, you'll be lucky to get probably
Yeah.
10,000.
Absolutely.
So it's a better return for them.
Absolutely.
So what do you think? You think that'll work?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's fresh. I feel like that strategy, these strategies aren't used much, and because all the other lead generating, the typical stuff you hear, like that's just I don't know how to say it. This is just great because it's targeting the market that I want to work with, right? Like that niche. It's instead of just going out there and I guess like scrambling, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, see, that's why niche marketing works, because, once you tell me what you're looking for, you can customize a strategy to go after it, and it'll actually work. Whereas, I think a lot of the other people are teaching, oh, you got to lead generate, you scatter, it's shotgun blast, go
Mm-hmm.
after everything. And it's like, no, it's not predictable. Everyone else is doing it. It makes no sense. It's absolutely stupid. So why are people
Mm-hmm.
even teaching that anymore? And the real truth is that someone is lying awake right now in Montreal who just got news that they're getting transferred, and they've got to be in Toronto by July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to go online with their iPad in their bed and start looking for properties. And that's their selfish problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have the selfish solution that absolutely matches their selfish problem, there's no reason why there can't be a match in the marketplace. And they contact you and says, oh, well, looks like you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And,
Well, especially with the presence, right? That's why it's important to have that Facebook page and have content on it, and Instagram, like you said.
yeah, absolutely. And then what you can do is start creating content that just targets those people, like the condo rental report for Toronto. Like you can start actually creating content that positions you as an expert anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the current 1-bedroom luxury condo rental average price. Here's the 2-bedroom. Here's the 3. Here's the 1-bedroom in Yorkville. Here's the 1-bedroom on Bay Street. Like you can, it's a bit of data. I wouldn't tell you to go and do that all right now, but that's the content. Because if I'm in Montreal and I find out that you're surveying the marketplace and you're reporting the averages, and that, then I automatically think you're the expert on this, and I will contact you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Especially
there
if
you
it's
go.
up to date and consistent, right?
It's all content. It's all content
Yeah.
marketing now. People are still trying to do other content, and whether it be like they're trying to do print content, and I'm like, I think it's probably more, web content you need right now,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where the market is. Though the market isn't, like, no one's at home right now going, I can't wait. I hope 8 agents send me a flyer this weekend. I just hope.
Exactly.
They just don't think that way, right? So, and then here's the other hack that I'm going to give you, my final hack, because I used to do this when I was showing. I would always bring bottles of wine for the concierge of hotels, of condos rather.
Mm-hmm.
When I was showing those places consistently and I got to know all of them, I would always bring them a bottle of wine, a lunch, coffee, anything, just to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And it's pretty amazing how most concierges really appreciate that, because you're
Mm-hmm.
treating them as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And the concierge always knows who's moving in the building.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's a 5th idea. I know we got to wrap up, but here's the 5th one I'm going to give you, because I just thought about it. What if you got a concierge mastermind cocktail group that met the 4th Thursday of every month for beers, and you talked about, the concierge, developments in the concierge world, but more importantly, you're setting up a network of people and ears and eyes on the ground that will be sending you leads all the time.
Mm-hmm. So having the concierge know who I am, know what I do, like me, and then because people come to the building all the time, right? Is that kind of what you're referring to? Like when people come to
Absolutely.
the building, they're like, "Hey, do you know an agent that works here a lot?" And
Absolutely.
and
That's
then they're
what they
like,
do.
"Yeah, Eric is the guy."
Absolutely. And, you thank them with a great dinner, and you make the big deal out of them, and you just show them how much you really appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great way. Plus, you will also have some sellers who will come down and say, oh, I need the elevator because, I'm going to be moving soon and I'm just getting some decluttering out. So now we can start matching those people. So create Toronto's concierge network. And I think, you have to give to them at the same level you're expecting them to give back to you. So
Absolutely.
how fun is that?
Yeah, no, it's exciting.
All right, Eric, do you have any other questions? Are we good to go?
Yeah, no, that was super informative, and it's great. Yeah, that was great because, uh, you know, I'm sure you know that new agents are always kind of scrambling all over the place with their thought processes and like where they want to start. And then because the struggle that I've been having recently was like I have a desire for a certain market, right? But then when I ask other, I've asked other experienced agents that I have access to, I suppose, and it's just they're giving me their advice, but it's not synced up with where what I'm excited about, and I'm sure it's valid because they know, right? Because they're actually in the field, they see what's happening, and I'm not, right? I don't see what's happening, and I don't see what makes more sense to start with, but I just had a desire for this market, so this is what I was really looking for, was advice and tips to get started there, as opposed to kind of running around in circles and hopefully moving towards the market I really want to work with.
Absolutely. Well, that's why you need a coach and a mentor. Like, that's what coaching and mentoring is, right? It's they look at the marketplace and they bring it back to you. Whereas many agents, they're just living their life and their experience. And so they're getting 2 eyes on it instead of like 100 eyes of it on the situation. And that's why, I always say to agents, because they'll tell me they're going to pick the cheapest brokerage or something to work with. I'm like, you don't need that. You don't need cheap right now, because, $300 a deal is nothing if you're not making any deals. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You could have the best split in the world, but if you're not making any money, and you know what, the thing is, the clock is ticking for all new agents, whether they know it or not. You got 3, 6, or 12 months to try to make this go. If you don't, then you're out, and there's nobody cares. There's another. Thanks for your 5,000. There's another 500 people coming in every month. So who cares?
Yeah.
And that's the difference between getting coaching and mentoring and just, finding out what other agents are thinking about, And the other thing too is it's not about the brokerage. People don't even care what brokerage you're at. I mean, some people maybe in the luxury segment might think about it, but if you actually go on to the Toronto Real Estate Board and you actually start looking at the market share, there's more luxury homes sold by non-luxury brokerages than there are for luxury brokerages. So it doesn't matter. It's just, you got to pick whoever is going to be, the manager or the broker, or the team leader, who's going to be the coach. That's Absolutely. The most important thing for you. So, all right, we're at 30 minutes. I promised 25. So,
thanks,
Eric,
Glenn.
thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And then thank you for joining me on the call. All right.
Thanks, Glenn.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.